I pleaded with him to keep proceeding, and furthermore, he never stopped. That single line has echoed in my mind for years, like a haunting refrain that refuses to leave. My name is Emily Carter, and what I am about to tell you is not just a story, but a shadow that has clung to me ever since the night everything went wrong. It was the summer of 2012 in a quiet town outside of Portland, Oregon. I was 23 years old then, still figuring out who I was and where I was supposed to be in life. My family was modest, hardworking, and tightly knit. My father, Robert Carter, had been a mechanic for decades. My mother, Linda, worked part-time at a small bakery, and my younger brother, Daniel, was still in high school. I had just gotten my first real job at a local insurance firm, a position that seemed dull but promised stability. I wasn't looking for trouble, but sometimes trouble doesn't wait for an invitation. That summer, I reconnected with someone I had known during high school. His name was Jason Miller. Jason wasn't the type you'd expect to become central to a nightmare. He was tall, charming in his own rugged way, with a smile that seemed like it belonged on a movie poster. Back in school, Jason had been the kid who could get away with anything: late homework, skipped classes, even fights. Teachers would shake their heads, girls would whisper his name, and boys wanted to be him. I wasn't particularly close to him then, but when we ran into each other at a diner that summer, he treated me like we had been old friends. At first, it was harmless. We'd meet up for coffee, or take late-night drives around town, just talking. Jason had a way of making the ordinary feel exciting. He spoke about escaping the small town, chasing bigger dreams, and living without fear. And I, who had always lived carefully, found myself drawn to his recklessness. But beneath his charisma, there was something else, something darker. The first time I noticed it was on one of those late-night drives. We had pulled over by an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Jason leaned against his car, lighting a cigarette, and stared at the building with an expression I couldn't read. "You ever wonder what people hide in places like this?" he asked. I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking. Probably just dust and broken furniture. But Jason shook his head.
"No, Emily.
People hide secrets. Things they don't want the world to see." The way he said it sent a chill through me, though I didn't admit it then. Over the next few weeks, Jason grew bolder. He'd talk about testing limits, about how most people lived like sheep while a few dared to push past boundaries. Sometimes he'd drag me along to places we shouldn't be: abandoned houses, locked-up construction sites, even restricted areas by the docks. He thrived on adrenaline, on the idea of doing what others wouldn't. One night, the night that would change everything, Jason asked me to meet him after work. I remember the air being heavy, the sky swollen with clouds, threatening rain. I should have said no, but I didn't. He drove us far out of town, down a narrow road I didn't recognize. The trees thickened around us, and soon the only light came from his headlights cutting through the dark. I started to feel uneasy, my instincts whispering that something was wrong. "Where are we going?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Jason smirked, his eyes locked on the road ahead. "You'll see. Just trust me." I wanted to turn back. I wanted to tell him to stop the car. But instead, I said nothing. I pleaded with him silently in my head to keep it harmless, to not cross whatever invisible line he seemed determined to approach. But Jason never stopped. When he finally pulled over, we were in front of an old cabin. It looked deserted, its windows boarded, the wood weathered with age. Jason got out without hesitation and motioned for me to follow. My legs felt heavy, but I obeyed. Inside, the cabin smelled of damp wood and decay. Jason moved confidently, like he had been there before. I trailed behind, my heart pounding louder with each step. Then he turned to me, his face half hidden in shadow, and said, "Tonight, Emily, I'm going to show you what it means to keep going, no matter what." I didn't understand then, not fully. But soon I would.